Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything at Chelsea FC. And today, that means talking about one of the more boring games we've seen in a little while, to be completely honest. But ultimately, it doesn't matter, because what happened is Newcastle got 3 points. We come out with 0. We push ourselves one step further away from the season's goals of making Champions League and getting some momentum and galvanising the squad. But guys, before we get into it, if you are enjoying this content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments. Whatever gets you through your day. And you know what? Honestly, just not even a huge amount to talk about with today's game. It was just poor, average, pedestrian. We need to be better than this, man. We've got the players in the squad to be better than this, but the squad has dropped. Liam Rosenior is, it is starting to look a little bit like it was new manager bounce. I'm still reticent to kind of fully blame him for this kind of stuff, because there's been so much change this season and he's only just starting to have what looks like a starting 11. Do you know what I mean? Like players that you kind of trust every time. But the results have just been so inconsistent recently, man. So inconsistent. The Aston Villa game was amazing, but before that we got 2 draws against Leeds and Burnley. We lose against Arsenal, we lose against PSG, and now we lose against Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? And the annoying thing about this is, as much as St James's Park is a bogey stadium for us, Stamford Bridge is normally 8 out of the last 10 times we've beat them, and they really, really struggle to get results here. They really struggle to get points here, but not today. So look, let's have a little look at the lineup, back to front as ever, and we'll talk a little bit about player performance. But like I say, man, there's just really not that much to talk about. Robert Sanchez in goal. The Willy won't eat Robert Sanchez. Does he return to the squad? The question was answered, and yeah, I don't even think Philip Jorgensen was on the bench. No, he wasn't. We'll get into the subs in a minute. But Philip Jorgensen not even on the bench. So, look, that's got to be some sort of punishment for his antics after the PSG game, right? We're going straight down the tunnel. We're not respecting the fans that have travelled. But ultimately, Robert Sanchez was given the chance back in goal. He looked okay. Do you know what I mean? He looked okay. Little bit of the passing out from the back stuff. Didn't have too many scary moments or whatever. He had a reasonably okay performance. But at the end of the day, this isn't the type of game where the goalkeeping performance, could he have done better for the goal? Maybe. I mean, to be honest, I'll get into the goal in a bit. But, I feel like there was a lot of players to blame for allowing that to happen. And I don't think Robert Sanchez was really one of the top ones. Defence, Malagusto gets the start again at right back, and he, again, just isn't offering a huge amount at the moment. Wesley Fofana and Trevor Chalobah in the centre of defence, who have been our most successful centre-back pairing this season, but still couldn't, we only conceded 1 goal, but, arguably they didn't perform well enough, because we did concede that 1 goal, and it was the one that won the tie. Marco Correa, bad performance today, by the looks of things, a 6.4 rating on SofaScore. He seemed to have more energy and a bit more gumption about him than the rest of the guys, do you know what I mean? But ultimately wasn't able to turn it into anything positive. Midfield of Moises Caicedo and Reece James. I don't really get this, what's happened to Andre Santos, and even Romeo Lavia's coming on later. Again, I'll get into the subs in a minute. Reece James plays well in midfield, 100% he does, and maybe it's the same thing that Maresca used to say, is when I want some physicality, I'll put Reece James in midfield. But for me, Reece James looked loads better when he let him move to right back, and Malagusto came off. Moises Caicedo had a pretty sober performance, to be completely honest, but did pick up 1 yellow card. I think he's got 2 more games. If he gets another yellow card in the next 2 games, he will get a 2-match ban. So he was taken off a little bit early, I imagine, for that, just to protect him, because, that would maybe be a 3-match ban if he gets a red, I'm not sure. Attacking front 3 of Alejandro Garnacho in for the suspended Pedro Neto, because Pedro Neto was sent off in the Arsenal game, and also Pedro Neto now might be unavailable for the PSG game, so we're probably going to see a little bit more of Garnacho over the next few matches. Underwhelming performance, because it's just Alejandro Garnacho, and Alejandro Garnacho generally gives us underwhelming performances, doesn't he? Enzo Fernandez in the 10. I think he does a job there, do you know what I mean? But I think I'm missing Cole Palmer being out there and having a bit more out on the wings, a bit more attacking impetus in the squad. For me, I mean, the thing is, we just don't really have the options at the moment, though. Jamie Gittins is injured and has been inconsistent. Esteval Willian still isn't available, and that's probably hurting us quite a lot at the moment, unfortunately. So Enzo Fernandez in the 10 is kind of the best option, I guess. You know, we haven't even got the Facundo Buonanotte style backup or anything like that. And to still have Cole Palmer out on the pitch, especially, like say, Pedro Neto is suspended, never available anymore, and Jamie Gittins is unavailable, and do you know what I mean, Esteval's injured and stuff. So yeah, there's definitely, this seems like more, it was kind of just what we had available. João Pedro up top, reasonably disappointing performance from João Pedro, but I imagine a lot of that is going to be to do with the fact that he's just being targeted now, isn't he? Because he's on such hot form. Teams are now looking at João Pedro like they used to with Cole Palmer. Do you know what I mean? Like they used to with Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer had an all right performance today out on the right. Do you know what I mean? He definitely... He's getting into the positions and starting to try the things that he used to do more, but unfortunately that final ball just isn't there at the moment, is it? You know what I mean? He doesn't always look like scoring. You know, there's a lot of misses and stuff that he would have been putting away a year ago, so I still have faith that Cole Palmer is on the road to becoming the Cole Palmer that we know and love again, but as of right now, he still seems to be in the transitional period. So yeah, I mean, the instant thing you can see about that is, like, apart from Fernandes, Reece James and Cole Palmer, and only just with Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez, to be honest, it was a very, very mid-average performance from the majority of the team. Newcastle just knew what to do today, I think. And you know what, fair play to Newcastle, man, because to be able to get a reasonably early goal and defend it for the rest of the game is an impressive thing in itself. Do you know what I mean? We really struggle with that. We've had that loads of times this season where we've scored early and it's gone to a draw, or we've not been able to hang on to it and stuff. I think Chelsea are leading the league for most points dropped from winning positions this season, and it's like 15 points or something. Do you know what I mean? So look, whatever you want to say about Newcastle's performance today, it wasn't beautiful to watch or whatever, do you know what I mean? But they got their goal, they stuck to their game plan, and they got the 3 points, and they absolutely deserved it, because we just didn't turn up, really. It wasn't like an absolutely woeful performance, but if anything, it's not worse, but it's a different kind of bad, isn't it? Where it's like, it just looked really sad today. Like, normally we're like, oh, Rob Sanchez was terrible, or one of the centre-backs, or the centre-back pairing was awful, or something like that. It's like, I'm not looking at a single player in this starting 11 and being like, he really let us down today. It was just a really middling, average performance from the whole team, which is just really unfortunate. We'll move on and have a little look at the subs. Liam Delap came on at half-time for Malagusto and couldn't really make anything happen. I imagine the idea was, can he bully Newcastle's defence a little bit and create spaces for the other guys, you know, with João Pedro dropping in a bit deeper, maybe linking up with Cole Palmer, stuff like that. He had a few moments where it looked like something might happen, but classic Liam Delap, and I say classic Liam Delap because we're nearly at the end of the season now and he's had a lot of opportunities, do you know what I mean? It's not like we're still waiting to see what Liam Delap can do this season after he's warmed up. Can he still be good in the future? Yeah, of course he can. He's 22 years old, man. Do you know what I mean? There's plenty of time for Liam Delap to discover his goal-scoring boots, but unfortunately today was not that day. Romeo Lavia came on for Moises Caicedo on the 61st minute, and that is, like I say, I think largely dictated by the fact that Moises Caicedo was on a yellow card and we need him for the next few games. Do you know what I mean? Romeo Lavia, it's good to see. I like Romeo Lavia, and you know, he's never the player that's going to come on and change the game. Maybe in the future, when he's back to full fitness and he's a bit sharper and stuff, maybe that range of passing and that, you know, ability to dictate the play and tempo from midfield can make more difference to the team in future. But again, today was not that day. And on the 82nd minute, Yoro Hato comes on for Wesley Fofana, and I guess that's just in an effort, you know, Cucurella playing as a bit of a centre-back, allowing Cucurella to get up a little bit more, but he's also got a bit of attacking impetus about him himself, hasn't he? He got loads of assists last season at Ajax, and we've seen him get a goal or two and have a good few attacking moments for us. But again, you know, and had, you know, reasonably okay. I mean, like a 6.7 from Yoro Hato in the small time that he was on is better than about the team average. Actually, it's about the team average for the rest. So in that, you know, 20 minutes ish that he was, 20 minutes that he was on, and the thing is, like, it's gotten to this point, man. It's like, look at the rest of this bench at the moment. Look at this. What are we supposed to do? Do you know what I mean? The situationship is really hitting us. You know, Teddy Sharman-Lowe is on the bench. Obviously, Philip Jorgensen is in the naughty corner at the moment. Mamadou Sarr, yeah, okay, but, you know, defending wasn't really the issue. Attacking was the issue. Benoit Badiashile and Tosin Darabioyo. So we've got three centre-backs, and, you know, none of them came on later. Yoro Hato came on for our only other centre-back. Andre Santos, yeah, you know, maybe we could have brought him on for a little bit more pace and energy in midfield, but at the same time, it's not like he guarantees you a goal or, you know, really adds that much in terms of, you know, that kind of attacking impetus. And Mark Yu, we had Liam Delap on, so there's very little reason in bringing Mark Gill on. And that bench, man, looks all. The only players I really like on that bench, in terms of like, I like to see them come on, are Yoro Hato and Romeo Lavia, because I think that they are not game changers, but they can change the way that we play the game. Do you know what I mean? With their kind of specific skill sets and stuff. Liam Delap has just flattered to deceive all season as of yet. Mamadou Sarr, he's not going to come in and change a game. Benoit Badiashile and Tosin Adarabioyo not going to come on and change a game. Andre Santos, although I really like Andre Santos, I find it odd that he's not getting as much game time recently, but he's also not going to come on and change the game. And Mark Yu just isn't. It's just, you know what I mean? It's like, look at this bench, man. When we think like we're going for Champions League, like, you know, we're trying to get into the Champions League places and stuff. Like, you know, if we had a Pedro Neto, a Jamie Gittins, an Esteval on the bench, all of a sudden you have options to bring someone on to change the game, some pace, some fresh legs, some creativity, some energy. But we're not seeing that on this bench, are we, to be completely honest? So look, we put our strongest team out for sure. I don't love Malagusto and Reece James. You know, I'd much rather just see Reece James playing at right back, but Malagusto seems to just be loved by every manager that he plays for. It's a little bit like Mason Mount, isn't it? But he's got a little bit less output than Mason Mount did. But for me, when Reece James went to right back, and you know, we looked better from Reece James being at right back, because he's got that quality, right? Nearly scored an excellent free kick, just bounced off the bar. Real big shame. So look, the Newcastle goal was, you know, just a moment of poor organisation, I guess. Joe Willock literally just like passed it through the middle of the pitch, and Anthony Gordon, who was playing as a striker with Walter Marder in the centre, like, I had no idea what's going on there, but it worked, so fair play to Newcastle for that. Just absolutely like the cleanest through ball through the middle of our entire team. Like, no one was close to it, and Anthony Gordon slips out like a ghost, like a shadow, and just gets onto it and puts it away. So it's like, poor organisation. Maybe I was talking to Kai from Behind the Dugouts on a live stream the other day, and we were talking about Liam Rosenior's suicide football, right? The kamikaze football that he seems to have implemented at Strasbourg, where the team has a lot of chances, but they give up a lot of chances as well, because we're generally pushing everyone up really high. And unfortunately, it looks like we just don't have the solid enough defence to kind of play that way. It's not impossible to play that way when you've got the players, but I think where we are right now, maybe that could, that seems to be like a symptom of why we conceded that goal. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone was just like so focused on the attack, and we were caught off guard by a great through ball from Joe Willock through to Anthony Gordon, and he ran onto it and finished it. Looking at the stats, and it's just one of those annoying things, man, where it's like the stats are generally pretty in our favour for the most part. Chelsea in green on the left, Newcastle in blue on the right. This is from SofaScore, but ultimately the stats, tell the story of how the game looked, but the result tells the story of the game, right? So, we had 67% possession. So, like I say, man, lots of pedestrian passing. In particular, what I didn't love seeing today was a lot more of the Maresca style funnel it out wide. I don't know if Liam Rosenior is thinking, right, I've got to get Sanchez back in the team. How was he playing his best under Enzo Maresca? Let's try and get that Maresca team playing this way for a little while until the new season comes in, I get some new players or whatever. It just is what it is, isn't it? It absolutely just is what it is. So, yeah, expected goals, we were just above them. So we had loads more chances. Big chances, 2 to their 1. So, we 100% should have been in front of this game. Had we have the final ball and the moments of quality and the passion and the desire to get it in the back of the net. Total shots, 22-7. So that just tells you everything about the game plan. Bearing in mind, 67% possession. So we had the ball for 2/3 of the game, and we had literally 3 times the amount of shots they did. But the game ended 1-0 to them. Do you know what I mean? It just shows you what a resolute job they did after they got their goal, and they still tried. They still tried to carve out opportunities and stuff when they could. But they were happy to sit back and to let us have the ball. And we were, like I say, incredibly pedestrian today. Goalkeeper saves 4-3. Rob Sanchez did make some good stops today. Like I say, I don't really blame him for the goal. It was just a poor moment of team organisation as far as I can see, because that ball just literally slipped through the entire team like there was no one there. So, leaving Rob Sanchez to deal with it on his own, and it was kind of a 50-50 or whatever, so I don't really blame him for that. And he did make some good saves today. But, Aaron Ramsdale was really good for them as well. Corner kicks, 8-1, just shows you, again, obviously we had 22 shots, we had loads of possession, we had loads of corners, we were creating loads of opportunities, not enough big chances though. I think that's telling actually. If you look at the possession, you look at the shots, you look at the corners, but we only created 2 big chances with all of that. So that just shows you that our creative play wasn't there today. We're really missing an Esteval Willian, even a Jamie Gittins or a Neto, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's disappointing, isn't it? It's disappointing. Passes, 6-6-1 to 3-3-1. Like, they weren't passing it around a lot, and, they were trying to play quite direct. Tackles 10 to 16. So, again, that just shows you that their defensive play was really resolute today. 10 to 9 free kicks, in and around even. 2 yellow cards each. Not the fieriest, most spiciest of games you've ever seen. But that is what it is, man. That is what it is. So, look. Guys. It just feels like I don't even want to say it, but it just feels like I can't wait for the season to end. This has been such a difficult season, man. It's been such a difficult season. It's had highs, but it's had lots and lots of lows. The highs haven't been particularly high. Like, looking back on the season, the Barcelona result, the Napoli result, beating Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? There are moments in the season that were brilliant for sure. Big stretches of games that we were winning and things were looking good, but ultimately, looking back on this season, things can change. There's games to go at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? But just as of where we are right now, looking back on this season, the lows, unfortunately, lots of conversations about the ownership and the model and, the lack of ambition and the way that we're playing as well, like with the passing out from the back stuff. I love the Bermuda Triangle reference. One of my commenters, Mario, makes this really, really good thing about the goalkeeper and the defenders have cost us so many games. And look, Man United are in third now. Do you know what I mean? Man United are in third. Literally, they started much, much worse off than we did, but they made a sharp change. And Michael Carrick is just playing the team that he's got in order to get the best out of them. I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory, and I don't love it, man. I don't love it, but I will share it with you guys. And this is probably stuff you've already thought about already. I've got a feeling that the reason that Liam Rosenior is so dependent on playing out of the back might well be because that is what Blueco want to do. Do you know what I mean? Because from a manager's perspective, I can't see Liam Rosenior's hubris making him play a way that we are obviously not as good at when what the goal supposedly is to try and get results. But if he's had it put on him from the sporting directors and the guys above him that the Champions League and the results this season aren't that important, and what he needs to focus on is implementing that style of play so we can buy more players for it and kick on next season. I don't know, bit of a conspiracy theory. Let me know what you think about it. Mate, there's no I haven't seen any actual reason to think this is the case, but I'm just starting to think, I don't know, maybe it is just Liam Rosenior. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it is. He's obviously still a very new manager. We don't know him that well yet, and maybe it is just all down to him. But I don't know. It just seems wild, doesn't it? Because he is adaptable and he has made changes in certain games and stuff, but I've just got this feeling that, even though he generally wants to play out from the back, it's just not working, is it? It's just not working, and we need results. We need to get into the Champions League. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. But either way, guys, the Champions League finish dream is looking a little bit worrisome, isn't it? And it's not just because it looks like we might not finish in the top 5. So all of the English teams in Europe lost in the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? Lost or drew. No one won, essentially. And of the 6 teams in the Champions League at the moment, it's looking very likely that only Newcastle and Arsenal have any chance of getting through. They both got 1-1 draws against Bayer Leverkusen and Barcelona, respectively, in the last round. Man City 3-0 down to Real Madrid in the first half. We lost 5-2 to Paris Saint-Germain. Spurs got battered 5-2 by Atletico Madrid. And there is one more. It's Liverpool lost 1-0 to Galatasaray. So maybe Liverpool could come back from it. But at the moment, it's looking like not a huge amount of English teams are going to get through the next round, which hurts the coefficient, which basically means that we might only have 4 spots available for the Champions League. So it's weird. We've actually got to hang our hats on massive comebacks from all of the English teams on Wednesday and Tuesday and Wednesday next week in order for Chelsea to hope of having a chance of getting into the top 5. Wild, right? Absolutely wild. But yeah, like I say, you're looking at teams around us. Man U are doing really well now. Arsenal, at the time of recording, they won their game 2-0 against Everton, so they're still looking like they're at the peak. And Man City have got to play West Ham, so they're not going anywhere, are they? They're staying in the top 4 one way or the other. So yeah, man, difficult times ahead, mate. Difficult times ahead. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Let me know what you thought about the game. What do you think about our chances of finishing in the Champions League? Do you think that it doesn't even matter because maybe top 5 is what we were hoping for, and maybe top 5 isn't even going to be available for Champions League anyway because English teams are doing so bad in the Champions League? Anyway, that'll be that. Next up, PSG, the return leg. We need to win 4-0, or if we win 3-0, then it goes to penalty or extra time and penalties. What an absolutely wild couple of weeks this has been. Like I say, just a little part of me is just really ready for next season, and I just want to see some change, some new players come in, and just to get rid of some of these bad vibes that have been circling around all season. And I hope that the summer addresses that. Nice one, guys. Thank you very much for sticking around to the end of the video. If you did, I will catch up with you all very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.